How do we show our body that it's okay to be safe, short of course, working with a practitioner, which we're going to talk about? Is there anything people can do at home to start to increase that kind of zone of safety outwards in their lives?
So quite literally anything that is aligned with our body's needs can be helpful. So eating a more nutritious diet, getting deeper sleep. Now, these are all challenges in and of themselves, and sometimes they need extra support. But the point is, you don't have to jump right into, when I was 5 years old, this thing happened to me. You can pull back and say, what's the smallest thing I can do right now? Can I go for a 10-minute walk after, I wake up in the morning and get some early morning sun, which is going to reset my circadian rhythm, which is going to allow me to tell my body that we're here, we're safe, we're here, and we're connected to the greater whole. Certainly that can be helpful. Any change that you can make is going to move you in that direction. Similarly, from a psychosocial standpoint, one of the last steps in trauma healing is this concept of co-regulation, of going out into the world and having the social support that you need to feel safe, right? We're tribal by nature. You and I have spoken about this in other ways. When those small experiences, and they're not small for the person who's never slept well in their life, that's certainly a huge thing. When those things build up in a cumulative way, you can then look back and say, I have the resilience, to answer your question earlier.
Right.
My tank is full enough to then go face this other thing. What I would offer is, short of that, the mother I mentioned in the example who just is stretched too thin, it's not the right time to do trauma work.
There's a season for it.
There's
too.
a season for it in life, like anything else. So let's get you focused on eating a diet that is aligned with your body's unique needs. Let's focus on changing your relationship with food, certainly. Let's focus on the sleep or the movement. Let's focus on giving you 30 minutes a day that is just for you. Let's just start there.
Absolutely.
And that's often the first place you have to start, because you can give people a 2-page protocol and all these changes that they want to make. It's not going to help them if it's on a piece of paper that they can't incorporate into their lives. So.
And it's certainly not going to help them stress-wise if it's adding more stress to their bucket, essentially, and
exactly.
so to speak. When it comes to, and this is a question that I forgot to go back to before, but is there like a level of trauma? Because again, this is something I get from clients all the time, and some mutual clients of ours, so the person who's listening to this is going to laugh when they hear this. People who say, I had a great life. I don't have trauma. This is not influencing my pain. This is not it. Like, how much trauma does it have to be? I know that's not a real question, but how do we get people to understand that even things that felt maybe small may have imprinted and maybe something that, it got sticky with them?
Yeah. I guess the question for anyone is, are you suffering right now? Then probably the answer is yes. Because it doesn't have to be those things that you would read a biography about, right? It's not something that would be the core chapter in a memoir. It can be, let's take it to the first days of life. There's attachment issues that happen, right? And so think about any older sibling, maybe a couple of years removed from a younger sibling, that first day that you look at your mother and your mother rightfully has to attend to the needs of the baby, that's annihilation in the nervous system. So right there, that's trauma. We all experience it. It's a common experience. So without putting value judgments on this thing happened to you and you handled it and this thing happened to you and you didn't handle it, what we have to look at is, where are you now? Are you suffering? Have we addressed all the physical reasons, right? Again, we have to walk both paths. If we've done that, then there's probably something else there and that needs to be faced. And the only way to face it is through listening to the sensations that the body is quite literally speaking out with.
In ways of trauma being this thing that we think of it as like like more of a symptom than a sign, as in we view it as more of something that is totally unseen and doesn't really exist short of inside of our heads. What's the like cellular impact of trauma? Like if you had a big T, let's call it, what would be happening inside of your body physiologically during that?
Well, it's some of the things we mentioned earlier. Inflammatory cascades go on. Think about it from the perspective of that bear that's chasing you. What do you need to do to protect yourself? You need to pump muscles pump muscles. All right. You need to pump your muscles. You
All right,
need
fitness bro. All right.
You need to pump blood to your muscles, to your heart, to your eyes. Get out of there, fight, get big, whatever you need to do. That happens at the expense of all of our vital organs. You're not going to be running away from that bear and digesting your food. You're not going to be running away from that bear and processing things through your liver as effectively. That all happens, right? Because we would die if it didn't happen. But it happens to a degree, to a scale that's not supportive of healing. Now, you multiply that every day for 40 years, and that's going to have physical impacts, right? On a nervous system level, we already talked about the autonomic nervous system. On a hormonal level, what we're looking at is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline. People who are chronically stressed end up depleting their serotonin, also their norepinephrine. That ends up manifesting in gut health and all that. So the right way to answer that question is to take a look at each individual symptoms and try to understand the story and then work backwards to deduce, okay, this is the pattern that's going on here.